my story. So basically, my life before Christ, it was kind of self-centered. It was very man-centered kind of lifestyle. I just did whatever I wanted. It was very, I don't know, it was very problematic. There was a lot of problems with it. It just didn't feel right, but I just did it because, it's whatever. I was in high school and, I was dumb. And it was just kind of, it didn't make me feel happy at the end. At the end of the day, I was just not satisfied with my life. And so I became very distant with people, very distant with my family, my friends. And, I just became very to myself, and it just didn't feel good, And at that point, I was, I wanted to change my life, And it didn't come to my realization that Christ was the answer until my first semester here at Augusta University. I met 3 very important guys here by the name of Jacob, Stephen, and Clay. And Stephen's, staff here at CO at Augusta, and Jacob and Clay are guys here that go to school here. And, they kind of shared their stories. They shared the gospel with me, and it kind of made me realize, this is the change I needed in my life. And I don't know, it was just kind of very impactful. I went home thinking, it's like, wow, the messages they gave me, the verses that they shared with me, and I would meet up with Stephen every once in a while, talk about the gospel. He showed me some verses, and it just kind of pertained to me. And so I came to trust Christ during my first New Year's conference, and it was very weird, the feeling that it gave me, because I went there with a bunch of questions, and day after day, the questions were just answered, back to back. And I don't know, it was a weird experience for me. I'd never felt anything like that. And on one of the last days, Jacob, Stephen, and I were sitting out in the hallway. We were doing some discussions, and we read the verse Romans 4:20-21. And at that moment, it's just like my last question I've been looking for was answered out of nowhere. It was just, I wasn't expecting it. So Stephen asked me, how that verse made me feel. And I told him, it was just, it made me feel like, clarity in my mind for like once, and it was weird to me. I didn't know how to explain it. So then he asked me, what's holding me back from surrendering my life. And I couldn't come up with anything, And at that moment, I surrendered my life to Christ right in there in the hallway with a bunch of people surrounding me. But it was great, that Stephen and Jacob were there to show me support and everything. And, now my life with Christ, it's great, I feel more complete. I'm more content with my relationship with Christ. I go home every day, knowing somebody has my back, and knowing that I've people supporting me is amazing. And I don't know, it's just very different from how I lived my life before. And it was just such a blessing to have so many people there with me. And I think it kind of saved me in a lot of ways, mentally. And I don't know, I just really appreciate it. So thank you for letting me share my story with you guys.